People that are losers, they give up. People that are winners, no matter what roller coaster they go through, what setbacks they go through, what problems, lawsuits, headaches, employees, blah, 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 they're relentless. They just go every single day.
In terms of failures, what is a fail? What is something that's impacted you?
So Victory Poker, I first started in 2009. Dan Fleyshman calls me. Yo, where are you? Screaming bloody murder. Like, dude, it's over. Like, to that huge destruction of my company that was doing millions and millions of dollars a month in revenue, led to the best situation in my whole life. Stop showing off and start showing up. Teach me something, make me laugh, make something shareable so that I can share your content. You will grow if I repost your content. I care about, outside of the millionaires I create, is the jobs. I'm not trying to scale to do $1 billion investments. If I just keep doing the number that's realistic for me, we're going to create thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs. That is how I can impact the country.
Bringing value is what it's all about, and Dan has so much value to bring, so I'm just so excited for that. Hi guys, I'm Amanda Lynn, host of Rubbing Elbows. I am so excited today because I got a freaking genius in the house today, Dan Fleyshman.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dan, for being here. I am so excited. So if you don't know who Dan Fleyshman is, you're going to learn today because I wrote an intro for him. I'm going to pick up my phone and read it right now because he is incredible. He is the ultimate boss. And hold on, let me read this for you. So Dan Fleyshman is a social media mogul, serial entrepreneur, philanthropist, and angel investor to over 43 companies. At just 19, he became the youngest founder in history to ever take a company public. Since then, he has co-founded the 100 Million Mastermind Experience and the Avengers Mastermind and has spoken at over 250 events. Over the last 7 years, his main passion has been his charity, the Model Citizen Fund, which creates backpacks for the homeless filled with 150 emergency supply items inside. And he recently broke the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest toy drive in history.
Incredible.
And there's so much more that I could say about Dan. He is truly incredible. He's a boss. If you don't know, you're going to know today. So thank you, Dan, for being here. We're so happy to have you.
Way to put the pressure on, Amanda.
No, there's no pressure. Honestly, to me, bringing value is what it's all about. And Dan has so much value to bring. So I'm just so excited for that.
Yeah, that's for sure. So one thing I noticed, Amanda, that you like to do is you like to find winners. And so far, everybody you brought onto this podcast has been a winner. And it's really interesting to figure out and identify what separates the winners from everyone else.
I can answer that if you want.
Yeah,
Oh,
let's go.
answer it.
Let's start.
It's one word. It's
What?
relentless.
Oh,
Relentless.
Because
Yeah.
people that are losers, they give up. People that are winners, no matter what roller coaster they go through, what setbacks they go through, what problems, lawsuits, headaches, employees, blah, 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 they're relentless. They just go every single day. It just
Amen.
compounds over and over and over.
so I know that you're here for one day. You're literally in town for one day making this happen for us. So where does your drive stem from? And what were you like as a child?
So when we first moved to America, I was 6 months old. My parents didn't have much money, so we were selling Levi's jeans out of the back of a van at the
Wow.
swap meet every weekend. And so when I was around 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, I was selling baseball cards at the swap meet every weekend. They'd sell their jeans, I'd sell my baseball cards. Everybody was happy. It was fun. Once they got divorced, my mom and I lived in like a 90-ish-year-old lady's extra bedroom, me and my mom.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have money, so I started figuring out how to hustle. I was selling candy at school. And then high school, I was working 3 jobs at the same time to save up money for college because how else am I going to pay for college? So working at Ruby's Diner with a sailor's cap on, working at Qualcomm Stadium, Peanuts, Cracker Jacks here, and working for a stockbroker under the table. And so I saved a bunch of money to go to college. And instead, when I was 17 is when it all happened. I trademarked the catchphrase, "Who's your daddy?"
Who's your daddy?
for over 300 products. And the $43,000 that I'd saved up during those 3 years went to the booth, the convention, samples, etc.
Wow.
So that's where it all came from was, if I throw you in the pool, you got to swim or you're going to die. I just started swimming, and I was like, man, I got to build this thing.
That's pretty incredible. So even with the baseball cards, that's something that you're doing now. Can you talk about that?
So there's a big gap in time. So I did the cards as a kid. In high school, I was like Magic the Gathering and Pogs and different games. But then from like 17 to 37, I didn't do cards at all.
Yeah.
And I went to a convention with Gary Vaynerchuk in Chicago. He was there at what's called the National Card Convention. So Gary V's like, hey, come by the card show. I know you're in Chicago. I'm like, yeah, of course. I'll come see you. So I thought I was going to go for a few hours. And I stayed for a few days.
Nice.
Wow.
And I just got addicted to cards again. And then like it was the perfect storm of like Gary and I like made group chats together with a bunch of sports cards people. Then we made group chats with like Steve Aoki and Logan Paul and Lewis Howes and all these characters that like wanted to get into cards. And so all of a sudden we have 4 group chats with maxed out at 36 people each of just like business guys, cannabis guys, DJs, podcasters, whatever. And all the excitement came from that. And then one day he jokingly said, like, it's 2020, it's middle of COVID, everything's shut down. He's like, somebody should do a chain store called Cards and Coffee. You know, kind of like the Netflix versus Blockbuster.
Right.
All the other stores are old school. Let's make something cool. And I was bored. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I don't say anything else again. 7 weeks later, I send a picture in front of the store on Hollywood Boulevard, open. And the rest is history. Now we've done 27 million in sales in the first 26 months. We have 8 stores now, and we're building the first national chain store in the space.
So are you looking for investors?
Yeah, let's go.
Always looking for investors, right?
What do you think of Gary Vee?
I love him. I think that he's important to society, that he's not for everyone because not everyone is built to be an entrepreneur, and they shouldn't be entrepreneurs. And I wholeheartedly don't think a lot of people should be entrepreneurs or CEOs. But watching him evolve year after year, I've known him for many years, watching him evolve year after year and adjust with the times and change his message based on what people need. Now he wants people to have empathy. He wants people to not hustle as hard anymore. Now it's about how to, anyways, like watching him evolve his messaging has been really good to see. And he's really literally impacted culture.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody describe him that way, that he's good for society, but I totally get it. I mean, once a week he'll come out, he'll say something, it'll make you think, it'll go viral. Everything he does goes viral. So yeah, he's great. He's a wonderful human.
So what is your creative process like? Because I know that you're so successful. You're not a one-trick pony at all. You have so many different businesses that you do. But what does your creative process look like? Like, do you manifest? Do you meditate? Do you affirmations? What do you do?
It actually comes from whiteboards.
From whiteboards.
I get ideas like, hey, I'm going to open a sports card store. And I whiteboard it out. I think through it. I start asking questions. I start texting people in the sports card space and past, present, future, asking what people are thinking, why, and are people going to care? And I don't ever try to reinvent the wheel. I try to make the wheel faster, smoother, sexier, and more affordable. And so I saw sports card stores were all like been around for 30 years. It's like the 62-year-old dad with the 28-year-old son, and it's just them. They run the store. It's messy, and most of the stores look the same. So I wanted to, make it sexier, more affordable.
Yeah.
I looked at that in every category. I did that with energy drinks. When I started my energy drink, there was 900 drinks in the market. Red Bull, Rockstar, Monster, and 800 drinks you couldn't even name. But I wanted to make mine more affordable. They were $3.99 and $2.99. I made mine $1.99. They were 8.4 ounce, so I made 16 ounce. I made the first 16 ounce cans.
Wow.
They were all the same flavor, which was like the taurine, that cough syrup. So I made mine cranberry pineapple. I made the first 0 sugar, 0 carb, 0 calorie. I didn't invent energy drinks. I just made it faster, cheaper, healthier for you, etc. And so every space I look at, whether it's sports cards, acai bowls, social media agencies, everything that I do, I never reinvent the wheel. I just make it better, faster, smoother, more affordable.
Improve it.
Yeah.
So when did you make your first million?
When I was 18, when I was 17 and a half, we did our first million in sales. When I was 18, we did a $9.5 million licensing deal with Starter Apparel, and we didn't really have any overhead to that. It was just, we just got the checks every quarter. And so that's where it really, I guess that would be the first million. And then when we were 19 is when it got interesting. We started getting into Macy's and Kohl's and like chain stores. Mm-hmm. And then my life changed when I was 23. That's when we went on the public on the main stock market. Yeah.
That's amazing. So at 19, you're already making millions. Like you're a teenager.
I felt old back then. I still feel old, but I felt old back then because with that money came a lot of overhead. You got to get warehouses and offices, and we had showrooms in New York and the Empire State Building and warehouse in LA and manufacturers. And I got to get that employee. He's 65 years old. he wants 120 grand a year. She wants 40 grand a year. He wants 80 grand a year. Like all of a sudden you're like, you're making millions, but you're spending it like it's,
Right.
Yeah, money
like
can
it's
go
water.
fast.
yeah.
I've got a question for you. What is your background? You said you guys came here.
So the whole family's Russian Jews. My grandfather survived the Holocaust.
Wow.
My grandfather met my grandmother at the Holocaust. And so, yeah, we all came from him. He's my inspiration.
Oh,
Wow.
that's amazing.
That's crazy. By the way, same. My
Really?
my grandparents also
Connection
met at the Holocaust. But I loved your question. It was just so out of the just when you picked your first million. That's just so boom, straight to the
You
point.
can literally ask me anything.
Because at some point you identify yourself as a winner, but not everybody gets to see that. And it's probably very difficult at a young age because everybody thinks, you're crazy. You have to sacrifice friendships, relationships. Well, what was that like for you?
Yeah, so I wrote a book, even though I never put it out, called The Youngest Guy in the Room. Because everywhere I went, I was 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 years old. And the people working for me were 30, 40, 50, 60, some 70 years old. And I had to be their boss. And it was very, I'm still learning throughout this whole period.
Yeah.
While I'm acting like the boss, I'm still researching, reading everything, asking a million questions. I still do that to this day. I'm still learning nonstop. And so the main thing I did was I dealt with their egos correctly. I was their boss, but I was never commanding or demanding to a 50 or 60-year-old person. I was never doing that because I needed them to be inspired by the fact that I was young, not threatened by the fact that I was young.
Yes.
And so my whole life I've done that is I make sure that I am not there to be like, I know better than you, especially when I was 20 years old. And I let people have really open discussions about their thoughts, whether I decided to do that or not. I didn't ever make them feel bad in the room. I wanted to hear them and learn from them, listen to them, but I wanted my vision to be executed. And so sometimes, even though they had a lot of experience and they knew how to ship to these stores, they knew how to do the designs, I still wanted my vision to go out. And even whether I was going to be right or wrong was on me. But for the most part, I guess the main answer is dealing with people's egos and understanding that I'm not there to threaten them. I'm not there to be their boss in that fashion. I'm there to be their boss as far as the leader, not as far as like taking over.
So that's a personality thing. I'm sure you're the same way today, even though you're not the same young guy as before. You still treat people with respect. But why didn't you put out that book?
I was young and busy. I took the company public like a year after I wrote it and just didn't do it.
I think that's a really sexy topic. I personally really like it. But going back to that million,
Going back to that million.
I'll tell you why I say this, because that $1 million might be a little bit different to you, Amanda. Since we're like immigrants, for us, that $1 million is like the dream. I want to go to America and make $1 million. That's like the American dream, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's just like, in the old days, we used to think like, as soon as I get $1 million house, that's like, you've made it, right? I need $1 million house. Nowadays, you can't buy a piece of shit in Sherman Oaks for $1 million.
there you go.
I think to everyone, making that first million is like such a big deal. Like you're a millionaire now, until tax or something comes and takes part of it back. But yeah, I think getting to $1 million is going to be very exciting. I think it's really powerful that and as long as I've known you, which is like, I would say 10 years now, you've never been the loudest person in the room. Like when you speak, people listen and you motivate people to be better. You help them scale in business, but you also inspire them. And I think that really goes a long way because you just do it in such an effortless way. And I think that's real value. So where did you learn everything that you know with business? Like, did you go to school, college?
Real life university.
Yeah.
It was just, I started so young and I was supposed to go to San Diego State, but that didn't work out. And so I was just living and breathing. I was in the streets and I was at every convention. I still go to every convention, trade show in every industry. I still learn to this day.
Yeah.
But I was researching. Internet was just getting going when I was, this was 1999, 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
So internet was just getting going. There's no smartphones. I had a pager, I'm old talking about it. It sounds crazy, but it's not that long ago, but it sounds ancient. But yeah, no, it all came from just really learning and like being in the streets, asking a lot of questions. I was always around mentors.
Yeah.
And so when I was doing the clothing, there's a guy named Christopher Wicks and his son Christian Wicks, who I'm still very close with. These guys were the legends in clothing. And I went to a lot of the bad people in clothing first before I found them. And so when I got to them, they owned the rights for Fender guitars, all apparel, Ocean Pacific, Body Glove, LA Gear. And they had their own brand called English Laundry, which he sold, I think, for 120 million. And so being inside of their warehouse and going through the learning process in their warehouse and watching how he taught his son, that helped a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure that's very valuable knowledge to be there and learn hands-on and see from people in action. Yeah. There's no better school of knowledge than that. Even in real estate or in any business that you're in, having someone right there where you can ask them questions and make mistakes and learn from them, that's like learning from a genius, literally. So that's amazing.
I always tell people, like, if someone wants to go out there and learn, if you put a kid in college for 4 years for fashion, they go to FITM, right? And I take Amanda and I have you go work for Damon John for 4 years. Who's going to win?
Me.
I mean, it's not even be close.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's not just about learning and asking the questions. It's watching, how does Damon John deal with the secretary? How does Damon deal with the invoices coming in, or the bad debt, or the shipping was late, the manufacturer was screwed up, the retail store hasn't paid in 2 months? How does Damon deal with those real life situations? You can't learn that at college.
Yeah.
Those are real life things. And so whether you're in real estate, you want to be a chef, whatever that thing is, being in the room with someone that is 10, 20, 30 years ahead, that's priceless.
So, you know, they say there's two different types of people in the world, right? There are those that go to school, college, they study, they become experts in their field, and then those that hire them.
Yep.
Amen. Amen, honey. I want to be a boss. Like, I want to learn from the best and be a boss with the bosses.
So how do you analyze your deals now? Because, you know, I'm sure now with your success and everything, it's probably a different process. In the beginning, you probably made a ton of mistakes. But at this level, when somebody brings you a deal, and I'm sure you get a ton of them, how do you analyze good deals?
Yep. So the very first thing is making sure that I like the quarterback. I like the person that's going to be running the company. Who is that CEO and president? That's critical because we are now going to get married for 3 to 7 years. On average, it takes around 3 to 7 years for a company to have a exit or liquidation event. If we're lucky, by the way, if it works out.
Right.
And so I have to like you. I have to be able to want to go to dinner with you. I have to want to talk to you at 10 o'clock at night when things are bad. I got to trust that on a Saturday morning, if something goes wrong, you're going to fix it. You're not just going to be like, yeah, I'll deal with it Monday. Like, I need to know I'm betting on that person. That's hands down number one. Mm-hmm. The product itself is adjustable. Whether they're selling water bottles, peanuts and Cracker Jacks, microphones and headsets, that's adjustable if I find a good person. If I believe in Amanda, I know Amanda Lynn's going to make it work. Doesn't matter if she's selling fancy jackets or bottles of water, she's going to figure it out. And so I'm going to bet on the person first. Second, the product or service that they're selling, does anybody care? And does anybody care?
Right.
And the way you can find out people care is they vote with their wallets. Will someone pull out their credit card and buy this separate from that person's grandma and friends and people on Facebook? Will a stranger, not prompted, not told what to do, buy that product or service without someone?
That's crucial because a lot of startups make the big mistake of putting out their product for free just to see if the market's reacting and wants it. And at the end of the day, if people aren't willing to pay for it, then your product is crap.
Third, can this product or service get reordered? Because selling something once is expensive and hard. Selling it to the same person over and over and over is not. If someone likes something, like if you like a water, you're going to order the same water over and over and over because it's a consumable product and you like that water. Well, the same thing for supplements, CBD, cannabis, watches. If you like that watch, you're probably going to buy the next version of Apple Watch when it comes out, right? Because you like that product, you trust the service. And so I look for something, is this something that people will reorder, again, with or without us pushing them to? Is it a good product that people are going to want to reorder? And then fourth, that's when I start to get into the actual financials, scaling, how big. Remember, not everything has to be a grand slam. There's plenty of companies that I invest into that I want them to do 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. They don't have to be $1 billion company all the time. I'm happy with that company does 2 million, that one does 8 million. That's great. It does not have to be doing 90 million for me to be excited about it. And when I first invest into it, it doesn't even have to be able to get there because there's different levels of risk. There's different levels of investments that I want to do. And that's why I'm so spread out. I did 43 investments personally. I did 11 through my fund, through Elevator Rolling Fund. And we did 9 last year through Elevator Syndicate. We did $44 million last year in the food and beverage brands. That doesn't count towards my personal investments. So I started looking at, I'll take higher risk on a personal level, but if people invest through me or through my fund or through my syndicate, I only find companies doing 2 to 20 million in sales. Having a $2 million threshold reduces our risk a lot. So Dan can gamble on stuff if he wants to, but I won't bring it to my group or my fund. And I recommend that to a lot of people. If people are going to co-invest with you into a deal, it is safer for a deal to already have some sales. Doesn't have to be 2 million, but that's my sweet spot. But for the most part, if you're investing into a pure startup that has $0 in sales or it's just an idea, it is very risky. And keep that in mind before you bring all your friends and family and cousins into investing into a deal, to make sure that that thing is going to work. You trust the person running it, and you have all your ducks in a row before you take any money.
So when you're taking a gamble on one person or a company, you're putting your name on the line, but you got to think twice when you're syndicating other people's money, when you're playing with other people's money. And obviously you got to, tread lightly. You got to make decisions very cautiously.
Right. And we argue about this all the time. But it's crucial to also always look out for what is going to bite me in the ass, especially when I'm bringing other people's money.
I'm much more interested in the bad stuff.
Are you?
I even talk about that at all my events. I always say, don't tell me that, I did 20 million sales. That's cool. Tell me about the arguments you're having with your employees. Tell me that 3 of your employees went off to try to start a competing company. Tell me about the lawsuits that are happening, the landlord suing you, the manufacturer was late for 4 months. Tell me the bad stuff. I can help you with the bad stuff. You just tell me the pretty stuff and how amazing everything is. Okay, you don't need my help. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah, you're like, then you got it all figured out. What
Right.
do you need me for?
Right.
So in terms of failures, what is a fail or something that's been significant to you where you've either had to change course or pivot with your career? What is something that's impacted you?
Yep. So when we talked about poker, so Victory Poker, I first started in 2009. I signed Dan Bilzerian, DJ Steve Aoki, Sarah Underwood. So it was like Playboy Playmates, Bilzerian, DJ,
Yeah.
Poker Pros. And I put this whole team together and had the 3rd biggest team in the poker market. 2010, crushing. 7 figures a month in revenue, millions and millions of dollars in revenue coming in. I only have 5 employees, so my overhead's nothing. Like, we are on our way.
Killing it.
I'm living in Malta by myself in a little tiny place called Malta. Never even heard of it before. And away we go. Boom. I'm playing on TV on every poker channel on the planet. Bilzerian's on TV. Even Sarah's playing on freaking Fox Sports. She's learned poker. Like,
Yeah.
we're all playing.
Yeah.
We're everywhere, right? And then 10 months into it, we get really big. I get a big offer from a huge poker site that asked if they can invest into our company. We moved to a bigger platform. Things are going to our heyday. So April 19th was supposed to be a big photo shoot. I rented out a whole resort in Costa Rica. I have all these playmates flying in there from all over the planet. All the poker pros are going there. I already bought everybody's tickets. And on April 15th at 10 a.m., Dan Bilzerian calls me. Yo, where are you? I'm at the Bellagio. Where are you? He's like, screaming bloody murder. He's like, dude, it's over. I'm like, what's over? What are you talking about? He's like, turn on the news. So I turn on the news. There it is on ESPN. Poker stars, full tilt, absolute poker. All of them seized by the FBI. All player accounts, all billions of dollars seized by the FBI. I go log into my site real quick. I'm like, am I okay? We're perfectly fine. So what was fun, interesting timing was at 12 p.m. The reason I was in Vegas and I was normally in Europe, I was in Vegas because at 12 p.m. I'm meeting with this multi-zillionaire who owns the Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy slot machine. He owns the licenses for all those.
Ooh, love him.
He invented the loyalty card. You know, you see like the old
Yes.
ladies stick it into in the machine, the slot
Yes.
machine. He sold that for $440 million. So he's like the legend in the casinos game, right?
Damn.
I have a 12 o'clock meeting with him at the Hard Rock with the casino host named Steve Sear. We're on the way over there, and texting really isn't a big thing, right? This is like 2010, 2011. We're on the way over there, walking at 12 o'clock. I'm ready to meet the zillionaire. Door opens, and he goes like, man, you look like somebody died. He didn't say hi. Right? This is my first time. I've been waiting for this meeting for 4 months. And I was like, I mean, my business might have died. I'm not sure yet.
But he must have heard, what's going on the news.
So he's like, he puts on the TV. I tell him to put on the TV. And all of a sudden, he's like, oh, let me call Steve. Okay. I'm with Steve Sear, so I thought he meant Steve, but he's next to me. So he calls Steve Wynn.
Oh, love it.
So I hear in the background, Steve screaming bloody murder. My lawyers, I can't believe this because like 11 days prior, it was like within 2 weeks prior, they just announced a huge deal with Full Tilt Poker. The Win, Full Tilt's this huge partnership, and all of a sudden, that they just got billions of dollars seized by the FBI. And he's like, how did my lawyers not even see this? So anyways, the next 4 days, and he surprised me that I was actually going to be training poker and blackjack for 4 hours from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. to the sheriff's department.
Oh.
Downstairs by the pool of the Hard Rock. Well, I think I'm public enemy number 1 because everybody else got arrested. Luckily, I didn't. I'm downstairs training the sheriffs.
Oh my God.
I told them all about it right away. I was like, I'm going to be on my phone a lot just so you guys know this is what happened. One of them kept joking. He kept like tapping his handcuffs.
No, that's not cool.
It was funny. Anyways, so
That's fucked up.
I still in my head. I can still hear
That's
the clinking.
Vegas,
Yeah.
or that's the police.
Yeah.
They do those.
So within the next 4 days, I must have done like 80 interviews, and I just went forward facing. In the midst of chaos, you have to stay calm.
Yes.
And theoretically, the whole industry just got shut down. Well, it did get shut down in America, but I could have kept my site going international. And I didn't feel comfortable because this was all a huge surprise to me. I didn't understand why everybody was getting seized. I found out that the competitors were miscoding the merchant transactions. So you deposit $1,000 on PokerStars, it would say mattresses.biz. You deposited $500, it would say PS3. You deposited $1,200 and it would say something else. And so mine was luckily just Victory Poker. I had Wells Fargo as my bank, KPMG accounting. That was it. I had one merchant account, one bank account. That was it. And so we didn't get in trouble. We couldn't get in trouble because we didn't do what they did. Over the next 4 days, I manually paid back 41,000 players. Wow. Outside of all the hundreds of thousands of players that withdrew, we had to manually, imagine this 10, 11 years ago, trying to manually pay people back. And so that led to that huge destruction of my company that was doing millions and millions of dollars a month in revenue, led to the best situation in my whole life. Because at that point, I realized I'm never going to have all my eggs in one basket. I'm never going to be all in on one thing. I didn't do anything else. I had nothing else. When April 15th happened, April 16th, I'm like, what do I do? Like, I don't have a job. And
Diversify.
So right? And so I started the social media agency. I started angel investing. I started speaking at events. I started throwing events. Everything happened because of my biggest failure. And so people can be like, oh, well, you didn't fail. I'm like, the scoreboard is a scoreboard. Whether the government shut people down, whatever happened, the scoreboard is a scoreboard. Nobody remembers what happened in a basketball game in 1978 besides the score.
Right.
Right? The score is the score.
It doesn't matter.
That's it. Poker site's gone. It's over. And so that situation, I had to think about, do I sit on the floor and cry about it, or do I get really busy and move forward? And I just engulfed myself in just interviews, pay everybody back, blah, blah, blah. And that helped me so much because I started consulting for land-based casinos. I started the social media agency. Everything happened because of that terrible moment.
Okay, so when you say the poker world is falling to shit, things are being seized, and did people start coming to you trying to figure out what was going on? And you started doing those interviews. Is that how this whole marketing career started for you?
Yeah, so my competitors were all dead or in jail.
Well,
literally that moment. They were getting arrested. They were getting billions of dollars were seized. The people I knew disappeared. Their private jets were flying all over the planet.
It's like the best thing that could have happened to you.
It was a movie. Like literally, if you watched it as a movie, you wouldn't believe it. It was nuts. And like the billions of dollars that the government seized was the players' money. It wasn't even the casino's money, the online site's money. So that was really a big headache. It took like 3 to 5 years for most people to get their money back. And so in that chaos, I was tweeting because there was no Instagram then. I was tweeting about it. I was posting on MySpace, like
yeah, it's so old school.
Yeah.
Twitter was like popping.
Paging people.
Yeah.
911.
Seriously. And so because of that, I started doing interviews right away. I called some of the media outlets myself, and then they were posting, and then the other media outlets started hitting me up. I did everything from ESPN down to like the local Las Vegas newspaper. Like I did everything because I wanted to get my story out saying, here's all the player accounts. I'm physically paying every single person back. By next week, you will not have one person in the world that we owe $1 to. And I just made it really clear. And by doing that, I became the good guy in the space, and it helped set up my life.
Wow. So how did you know to do that? Who did you call? Did you just start calling people?
I didn't know.
You just did it?
If I throw you in the pool,
you just
know how to
did
swim,
it,
right?
Yeah, you're like, how am I going to salvage this? I need to get my story heard so I don't look like all the rest of them, and try to salvage whatever you can. And then that led to the relationships. Did you from that build those relationships?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then that's how it has just spiraled into what you've built now, which is you teach people how to do all this. You teach people how to contact the media through your mastermind, which I've been to. It's really impressive. Like you teach bosses how to scale and grow their business.
Just because I've lived through a lot of lives.
Well, you did it pretty quick at such a young age. Yeah. That's so impressive.
So can you tell us a little bit about your books?
Yeah, you have 2 books, right? Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, so there's How to Set Up Your Business for Under $1,000. That was 2016. And then a couple of years ago, I did How to Set Up Your Personal Brand for Under $1,000. And then I've written, which I'll be putting out this year, How to Set Up Your Events for Under $1,000.
That's amazing. Are you getting so much great feedback from those books? Of course, they're very helpful.
They're really useful. I keep them to under 100 pages, so it's not overwhelming. People actually read it.
Yeah.
Because there's some crazy percentage of how little people read of the thicker books.
Right.
So I want to make mine easy, readable, more of like facts and checklists and like how to actually use it. And so whenever people message me of like, how do I start my business or how do I do this? I wrote
Send
it.
them the book.
Exactly. That's why I wrote it.
Genius.
Because I was
Because they're going
answering
to come to you and you're like, I'm sick of answering all these questions.
The
Just send
same
them
questions.
a freaking book so
Yes.
they can stop. And they're going to pay for this book. So instead, free knowledge, they're paying me for it.
Right. I saw it on Amazon. Do you have it like on Audibles too, or
Yeah.
it is?
Yeah.
Nice. Who did you actually like
No,
record it yourself?
I hired a voiceover guy.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, I don't have time for this. I have to be on the airplane. I'm going to Miami, Tampa, all these places.
I hire experts to do things. Like
Yeah.
if I know that person's better at being a voiceover, I'm not going to gamble on me being the voiceover. I'll let them do it.
So you understood that from people that you learned from? Like, how did you figure that out? You learned from people? Like, how did you do that?
There was a saying or a theory that a very, very wealthy guy told me when I was in my early 20s. He said, and I still use it in my speeches, but it came from this person. He said, if you can pay a gardener $15 an hour to garden your lawn and mow your lawn, and you decide that that's too expensive, that means that you are now worth $15 an hour. If your job makes you $50 an hour, $100 an hour, $200 an hour, you're physically paying upside down to mow that lawn. So you're doing the manual labor, you're losing money doing it, and you're paying on top of it when you knew that you could have done it for cheaper. So everything about that is wrong.
Great
Right.
advice.
And it's burned into my brain. Like, that's why for the last 7 years, I didn't drive. I just Ubered everywhere.
Really?
So if I could pay for someone to drive me and I could be on my phone, do I
Getting
make
work
more
done.
money than the XYZ? And especially in LA with traffic, I wanted to be able to be on my phone. For 7 years, I didn't have a car.
And then you're relentless about doing that practice over and over again.
You know what? That's genius. And that makes a lot of sense because LA traffic is a nightmare and it takes up so much time. Like even coming here, I can be in the car for an hour here, and then there's traffic back, and we have emails, and we have to, when we get there, we have to be in a good mood and presentable and not late. So yeah, it's super stressful, and that is freaking genius.
You know, I think
Wow.
from what I'm sensing from you, meaning you in person, is you don't have the issue with the ego, right?
Not at
so,
all.
because that's a huge, huge plus. Like somebody with an ego has to have, you know, a Lambo driving around. I need to be seen in this Aventador, right? Somebody who's got the ego has to do that voiceover themselves.
Right.
You know? So all these little decisions that are driven by ego kind of fucks you at some point, you know?
Yes.
Absolutely. But I think he kind of skipped over all that because when you become a millionaire at such a young age, like the ego could blow up. And I feel like kind of really keeping that in check. Like I've never seen your ego get out of control, but just if I was 19 and I was a millionaire, I would think that my head would blow up. So I think it really speaks a lot of volumes about being able to keep yourself in line. And the ego is also other people feeding that for us, making us feel special, stroking that like our worthiness to the world. So
Very
yeah.
true. Very true.
That's because Dan's a gangster.
He sure is.
Can we talk about your passion? Because I've heard you speak about it before. The backpacks, the
Yeah.
model citizen.
Model Citizen
Yeah.
Fund, yes.
Yeah.
Let's
so-
talk about that. That's really
So that started 10 years ago. This is our 10-year anniversary. Model Citizen Fund, we make backpacks for the homeless with 150 emergency supply items inside.
So cool.
Half of it's food and drinks. The other half is a watch, poncho, cleaning supplies, things that people could use, whether they're homeless or they're in a foreign country, to help them get by for a while. It's not going to save them forever, but it'll help them get by for a while. But there's also some things that last for years, like a sleeping bag and things like that. And it came from, I used to throw these charity poker tournaments all the time to raise money for other people's charities. Oh, I raised you $165,000 on a Sunday. Monday, I don't hear from them. Wednesday, I don't hear from them. 3 weeks later, 3 months later, I don't hear from them. So like your first guest, Charlie, if I give him money, 10,000 or 100,000, I'm going to see it tomorrow or tonight, right? With someone like Charlie, I'm going to see my money in effect. Similar concept. When I wanted to make my charity, I made it a backpack with 14 pounds of supplies, because if you donated $1,000 or $5,000 or $500, I'm going to go out there and buy the backpacks and I'm going to ship them out today.
Yeah.
Now, right this second. You're going to see it with homeless people immediately. And so I wanted something that had a true cause and effect that people could see, or don't donate to me, replicate it yourself. You can make a backpack in Philadelphia, Alabama, El Salvador. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can make a Ziploc bag with supplies and give it to a homeless person or an orphanage or a women abuse shelter or a teen abuse shelter. You don't need me to do it. I'm just the conduit, right? I'm just showing you how to do it. You can pick and choose the items and do it yourself.
right.
That's powerful.
So how many millionaires did you create?
Ooh.
I can't even count
Do you
that.
even know the number?
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Like over 100?
Easy.
Oof.
A lot. Because I'm relentless and I'm compounding it. I'm talking about it every day. and I'm literally investing. And think about the people I invest into. Those 43 companies, all 43 are still around. So some of them are doing millions, some of them are doing tens of millions, a couple of them doing hundreds of millions. Those people were at $0 to a couple of $1 million when I met them.
Right.
So more importantly than that, I care about, outside of the millionaires I create, is the jobs. So my actual passion out of everything that we've ever talked about is that if I keep investing, last year we did 44 million investments. If I keep investing at that basic rate, I don't change. I'm not trying to scale to do $1 billion investments. If I just keep doing the number that's realistic for me, where we put in 3 to 6 million per company every single month over and over and over, we're going to create thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs. That is how I can impact the country. That's my real true passion. That's more than my charity, because now you're teaching people how to fish, right? If I invest into Everbowl and they go from having 200 employees to 5, 6, 7, 800, 900, 1,000 employees, now you're creating jobs all over the country. That's my real passion.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. So what's what are you working on? I know you got the cards and coffee, but like what's in your future? Do you have like something in your back pocket? You're like, one day I'm gonna get to this, and like one day I'm gonna get to this. Like this is a pet project or whatever.
Yeah. So there's one company that I've held in my back pocket for years that I think will be my final hurrah if I make a company. It's basically, imagine Facebook, but for people that passed away, where you now have a memorial site. There's people have done it, but nothing like what I want to do. They exist out there. But essentially, whether it's your pets, whether it's family members or friends, there's a natural disaster, etc. People pass away, and we tend to forget quickly. And I think a lot of my drive came from, I've had a lot of friends pass away. My roommate passed away. My family members passed away, etc. Really close friends have passed away. And the number got high, got into the dozens of people that have passed away. And I feel like that's bad, extra bad because of my age, right? That's supposed to start happening when you're 40, 50, 60 that people pass away. Anyways, and so that's inside of me. I've had this concept of how do I improve on essentially the Facebook for memorials, where people can build something that is there forever, and they can help raise money for, let's say, a military wife, and she's got 2 kids, and the guy passes away. This is a way that people can now donate to her in a casual way that doesn't feel like she's asking for a handout.
Yeah.
And they can do it for years and years and years, not just one time, not just like, here's $100 or here's $500, $1,000 at the funeral. They can now donate anytime they want to forever through this platform.
That is really cool.
Where did you get that idea from?
There was a guy who actually passed away. He was the inventor of CD Now and some of those big like mail, you ship in the mail, like
mail
music.
order.
Yeah, mail order for music. And he created like Evanescence, and it was like
cool.
And he played a really high stakes poker with our friend Casey. He was like a big poker player, played on TV, and he had this like version of the idea. And we were on his plane. He was talking about it for like 5 hours. We were flying to New York. So it was a long flight, and he talked about one thing the whole time. And so it's been burned into my head. And we actually started working on it for like half a year, and just talking about death with this guy for half a year. And then he passed away unexpectedly.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's inside of, like, I think about all the time that's going to be my last one. That'll be my last company that I actually run. I'll always be working, investing, and advising, but I don't have too many companies left in me besides that one. I want to do that one.
Do you have a name for it already?
I can't say the name because there's a lot of trademarks.
Yeah.
Got it.
If I was doing it right now, I would say
But you do have a name.
Oh yeah.
He's always ahead of the game, so I'm sure he has it figured out inside already.
Normally I say everything. That's the only one I can't say just because people could go trademark it. I don't,
So, this is really a real estate podcast, even though Amanda brings people that bring value and that whole spiel.
Yeah.
But can we talk real estate for a second?
For sure.
Are you into real estate? Are you into investing, developing, and syndicating? Like what are you into?
Fun fact. I created a real estate mastermind. I have 184 members in my real estate group, and I did it for one purpose, besides helping everyone and blah, blah, blah. I wanted to get around people in the real estate space so that I could co-invest with them, because I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be able to find luxury homes as good as her. I'm not going to be able to flip a house as good as you. I'm not going to be able to go buy a fancy building like he can. Like, I'm just not going to be that good. And even if I thought I was okay, you're still going to be better because that's what you've done for 5, 10, 20 years. I'm not going to be able to beat you. So I'd rather co-invest with you. And so I created the Avengers Mastermind literally to have 9 instructors that are not about me, 9 real estate people. This guy's got $800 million of apartments. This guy's flipped over 4,000 houses. Like the characters that are there are the Avengers. They're out there. They're billions of dollars in real estate. Why would I try to compete with them or catch up to them? I'll just co-invest with them. And so, yes, I am an investor in real estate, but I have never done real estate.
How would somebody, first of all, the Avengers, I love that name. How would somebody get involved in something like that? And is there openings to get involved.
Yes. So I have 3 levels of masterminds. I have elevator nights, which is free. I'm throwing it 50 times around the country for free, and it'll always be for free. 300 to 1,000 guests, totally free. Every time you see it, it'll always be free forever. Avengers is $35,000. It's for people that have done at least a few real estate deals. So you don't want someone that's at 0. Could they come? They could. It's better if you've done some real estate deals, or a business person, entrepreneur that wants to invest into real estate and is not going to do any deals. They just want to learn about it. And so we call it a real estate mastermind, but also for strategic investors. So someone that knows that they're probably not going to do it, they will co-invest in deals. My high-end group is called the 100 Million Mastermind. This is $100,000 per person. We sold out since 2019. It's 100 people. And that group is for entrepreneurs that have a $10 million or higher company, or they've had an exit. And the reason for masterminds, whether you look at my masterminds or anybody else's, or you're going to create your own, is to get into a room like this, where we're talking exactly like this, and have a mastermind and discuss, Amanda, what are you seeing in luxury real estate? Hey, what are you seeing in this? What are you seeing in this? And talk through it, because the people are experts in their own category.
Right.
They're going to be light years ahead of you. And imagine if Amanda taught me something about, hey, you know, you could get it for 3% instead of 4%. That doesn't sound like a lot. What if I'm buying a $7 million house? Saving 1% is a lot of freaking money for the next 30 years, right?
Right.
And then you're like, you know, by the way, if you want to buy a fourplex, you can do X, Y, and Z, and you could do this, this, and this. And here's a guy I know, and he can help you remodel it. That little 12 seconds.
So valuable.
Changed my life, right? And so I'm preaching to people to create their own masterminds, be at masterminds, even if it's just like 12 moms getting together once a month to talk about life about how to run their households and their kids. That's a mastermind. 10 people talking about clothing, 10 people talking about makeup. Like if that's what you want to be in the makeup industry, 4 influencers. You can create your own little masterminds and talking with each other. And then when you're ready, or if you can afford to go to the masterminds, most masterminds are 10,000, 25,000, mine are 35,000, 100,000, because I spend so much on production.
Yeah.
And because I want to make the room really high quality. But you don't need a mastermind like mine. You can create it in your own circle, your own city, and just be consistent with it. Meeting up once a month or getting on Zoom once a month and really talking through what's going on in your world.
Yeah,
That's how
masterminds.
Meetup got so popular. Meetup, have you ever?
I've heard of it, but I've never used it.
You really set up your own group for whatever you want.
Right.
You can, people with a specific dog are all meeting up at the park, and they're all hanging out with their dog. You know, so yeah, it's really cool. The one that's free. How would we be able? Could we share this with like our viewers for whenever the next event would be?
Yeah, so they just follow @Elevator on Instagram, or just me. I post about it, and I always post the week of the event, depending on the city I'm going to. Because it's free, I can't post too far in advance, because then we'll have too many people at it.
Right.
But I'd always post it the week of, and we always have rooms that hold 300 to 1,000 guests, and there's no tickets, there's no sales on stage, there's no pitching, there's no sponsors, just free.
That's really cool.
But you have that, and you go and you talk about everything you're working on and what's coming up, and everyone sits and they listen.
And I interview guests. I'll still get good guests. I'll still interview Jake Paul and Russell Simmons. Like I still get good guests at these things, but it's free. And it's expensive. It cost me 6 figures a year to throw these things for free. It's just like my Robin Hood thing. It's my excuse to get entrepreneurs into a room, and you meet him, he meets her, she meets you, blah, blah, blah. And stuff happens. And like so many deals have happened from it. So many relationships have happened, friendships have happened, etc. That it's just my excuse to get people together.
Yeah,
Mensch.
they're all listening to what you're working on and what you have going on, and they're really hungry and there to learn and to grow. So that's an amazing way to get them all in the same space and do that.
Yeah.
The butterfly effect of the events is what I'm so passionate about them. Because if you guys go off and do a deal together, and you guys go start a podcast together, and then you guys do a real estate thing together, like all those things happen, I don't have any actual benefit from it personally. But the butterfly effect to me is so awesome. Like I get to hear these stories of like, wait, you guys started a company together? Wait, you guys have a podcast together? Like that's so cool.
What tips can you give those that are like really struggling to just get past that hump on social media? They're trying to get, a certain amount of viewers, followers. What tips can you give those beginners?
So first thing, stop showing off and start showing up. Like stop showing off. We're already there. We're drinking the Kool-Aid. Like I'm already following you. Hey, Amanda, I follow you. You don't have to tell me how cool you are, because I already follow you, right? Teach me something.
Yeah.
Make me laugh. I'm not going to share your content of something that's not interesting.
Yeah, if you're just looking hot, no one cares. Like,
right.
What are you
we
doing?
We know you're hot because that's why I followed you, right? Or I know you're interesting, so that's why I followed you. Now, to make value for me is teach me something, make me laugh, make something shareable. If there's relevant situation happen in the world, teach me about it, talk about it, have a discussion about it so that I can share your content. You will grow if I repost your content, right? Doesn't matter if I have 300 followers or 300,000, you will grow because I'm sharing your content, and the people that follow me are probably going to like you also. And so the best way you can grow is making content either with people that are similar to you. So if Amanda makes content with another real estate agent, she's likely to gain following. If Amanda makes content with another model, she's likely to gain following. Someone that's similar to Amanda's world is most likely going to, when they make content, the people following that person will follow Amanda and vice versa. The same thing applies for fitness, basketball, real estate, chess, poker, makeup, whatever it is that you do or like. If you make content with people similar in your category, you are likely to gain following from them and vice versa. Now, the content that you make for your audience, the reason that you're not getting that many likes or that many shares or that many comments is it's not engaging content. Engaging content is very simple. Teach them something, make them laugh, or make it shareable because it's timely. Something's going on in the world. Something happened in the news. Andrew Tate gets arrested. You can post something about it. This girl just did this. You can post something about it. Brittany just did this. Or if you want to do a business related, this just happened in real estate. Like when you do, bam, house just sold for 27 million. That's interesting, right? I will repost it. I might not even know Amanda. I reposted and all of a sudden she gets followers because I reposted it.
Right.
And then 17 other people that follow me posted her stuff too. And the butterfly effect happens.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, what is the biggest mistake that you see people doing that just goes against them and they're not even realizing it?
They have no consistency or they post way too much. You have to think about the stuff that you post in your Instagram stories and Twitter and Facebook, etc. has to be something that you would want to see also. So if you take a picture of your salad, there better be a unicorn in your salad. Because why else do we care about your salad?
Chuck loves salads.
Right? Salad,
I post about my salads all the time.
Yeah, you do.
if there's something colorful, there's something magical happening in it, post it. Otherwise, we're going to scroll by it. And why would I ever like your salad, no matter how good it is?
Right.
Unless something stands out about it, right? Oh, I have 7 eggs in my salad. Okay, that looks weird because people normally have 1 egg. Oh, I've got 46 cherry tomatoes. I love cherry tomatoes. that stands out. But if it's like 12 pieces of lettuce and a cucumber,
You're like, that's not special.
that's right.
Yeah.
And so you have to think about for yourself, what would you like to see when you're scrolling through? What would entertain you? What would make you laugh? What would make you share it? And then also on Instagram stories in particular, people are just overdoing it.
Yeah.
If I see that there's 45 little dots, I'm going to choose 0.
Yeah.
As a user, you're going to choose 0 because we're not there in that moment to watch long form content.
Mm-hmm.
I would watch your 6 minutes if I was on YouTube or I was on Facebook on a long form content platform. When I'm looking at Instagram stories, I'm there for a quick fix of serotonin.
That is so
Exactly.
true. If I see 46 little dots, I'm
you're
going to
like,
choose
next.
0. It's like, I don't even think about that. But now that he said it, I'm like, that happens all the time. I go to somebody's story. If I see 2, I'm like watching both.
Right.
I see like 30.
You're like,
I
swipe
skip.
right
Discouraged.
out.
Done.
You get
Like,
discouraged.
I want to throw my phone away.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So listen, this whole salad thing, I kind of feel attacked. I kind of feel a little
Good.
attacked.
That's actually why we're here. This is an intervention.
So how do you differentiate between, let's say, whatever, call it like flexing, right? To get these new followers or, giving them value and keeping them entertained. And, how do you post the right content that'll kind of give both and, get both of those followers?
Yep. So your bio and your photo should be the flex. The content should not be the flex.
Oh, that's good.
The
That's
buyer
easy.
should be the flex.
That's good.
The bio and the photo.
The bio and the photo is where they make a purchasing decision. Are they going to click follow? So
Interesting.
when they see your bio photo, within 3 seconds, they know where they're going to click follow. The only other time they might scroll through your first 9 photos. Outside of that, that's it.
Yeah.
And so when in that moment, if they see your bio and it's laid out clean, it's easy to read, your photo looks good, they will make a decision, purchasing decision, what I call it, to click follow. Mm-hmm. You're not gaining new followers from your flexing on your page because they can't see it.
Right.
They can't see it. If she doesn't follow you, she can't see your post. It doesn't matter if you have a Lamborghini and you're giving away $1 million, she won't see it because she doesn't follow you.
Right.
Hey, comment below for $1 million free. She can't do that because she doesn't follow you. So it's irrelevant there. In your posts, you should be creating value, being interesting, being funny, being relevant in the time, etc. Your actual flexing should be your photo and your bio.
How do you feel about highlights? Again, I know once you're in and,
Yeah, no, highlights are great because again, that's up to us. If Amanda is like 2 a.m, she's bored and wants to go down the rabbit hole, she can look at it 2 a.m. I might wake up
Yeah.
at 5 a.m. Oh, I can't sleep right now. I might go look at it. But in general, those should be there forever. That's the same thing as your bio. That's the same thing as someone wanting to look at and research you. Same way that if they go Google you, right? That'll happen if they decide to, once they've made their purchasing decision, to follow you.
Okay. What was that big account that just went private? Someone just went private with
Gunna,
like,
the rapper, he told everybody to unfollow him.
Oh, really? Why?
So no.
Probably gonna get more followers because of it.
No, he's at 0 right now.
Really?
Oh, really?
It worked.
He's unfollow me. Bye.
But it's an interesting concept because it's all over the press. So anyways.
Oh,
I
so-
feel like it's maybe it was like a soccer player or somebody who was just like, I'm going private.
A lot of big accounts go private, but I don't know. I don't understand the strategy, but there is a strategy there.
So
fill up your request because that just sounds like a nightmare.
yeah. So for many years, people have made private accounts in order to gain following, and you'll still see it in the model industry. It happens the most. It happens a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
They like people that do promotions for models will say, "Hey, Amanda, I'm going to promote you on these girls' pages, but before we do, let's make your page private." I don't agree with it. They're just basically thinking that they're going to go click follow because they want to get unlocked to be able to see her photos. That's true, but if they go see her photos and she's pretty and they like it, or they see something interesting, they're going to follow her anyways. So I think that it's been overdone. That everybody thinks you have to be private. If they want to go follow her, they're going to go follow her. And making it private is just like a game or like a hack thing people think that they have. I don't agree with it. And I've done 110,000 paid posts, and 110,000 paid posts, and I've never, ever, ever, ever let a brand or person be private when I did it. If a girl or guy was private, I would not give them money to do a post, even if they had a big following.
Anytime I've ever done a paid post, when I used to do them 24/7, never were you allowed to be private.
Never.
You have to take it off.
Yes.
And you have to leave it for a certain amount of time.
Yep.
There's all these rules that are changing. But I don't see the thing with being private. I don't get that. Because it's the largest free billboard in the world. So why the hell would you want it to be private?
I'm private, but
But
just,
that's different.
That's different.
No,
That's
I don't want people to
different.
know my salad recipes. That's my thing.
Right. I think you should teach your salad recipes. I think you're holding back from the world.
I think Dan can turn it into a business, so
I
I'm
think
not
that-
really
I already
sure.
see your salad book. I see where we're going here.
So what haven't we touched on yet?
So
I have-
you're in the sports cards,
cards?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the sports card, and now there's Whatnot, which is like a huge. I mean, it was eBay for a while,
Yep.
but now Whatnot is. Are you on that? Are you
Oh yeah,
on
we're
Whatnot?
24 hours a day.
Really?
Wow.
How many people do you have? Opening stuff up all day long.
So we have 36 employees. We range between $20,000, $100,000 a day in sales, just opening up sports cards and Pokemon cards. Whatnot's the main platform that we're on.
Yeah,
They went from like 0 to 3.7 billion valuation.
yeah.
Like
a bunch
that.
of Jews in Florida.
It's
that
amazing
own
how
it.
fast
Yeah.
they are. And so yeah,
Do
they're
black tie breakers or yeah, Ray, good friend of mine. He's like killing it right now also, but he's still a small guy in the pool, but he's big enough.
Yep.
So is whatnot? Is it like what is it?
It's like a bidding,
It's
right?
like QVC.
It's like a
It's
bidding,
QVC,
but
online.
yeah, a bidding
Oh, really?
platform. You could do anything. It's not just sports cards. People
Yeah.
do watches and other
You can
things.
sell your hats. You can sell your shoes. It's
Or
like
salads.
It's QVC for online. Sports cards is how they got started, and so that's where we sell a lot of our cards. We open up boxes and packs of sports and Pokemon on there every day, and that's our main
Do
platform.
you think it's getting bigger or is it already saturated?
Oh, it's getting way bigger,
It is.
way bigger, and we're building the national chain store as we speak. We're 24 hours a day selling online, and like I said, we did 27 million like that just with our hands tied behind our backs in the middle of COVID when everything shut down. So now I'm excited. Now we're actually going.
What's your thing called? What's the room?
Cards and Coffee is the
Cards and
retail
Coffee.
stores, and then the Coffee Breakers is the online.
Got
That's
it.
the Instagram account.
Nice.
And you have to have like super engaging people on there, right? Like there's a whole science behind
For
how
sure.
to keep them in and all these games. It's like a casino. It's like figuring out how to draw them in.
Yeah, they're
So-
like TV show hosts.
And they're
Right,
young usually,
right.
right? They're like super young,
They have to know cards, right?
right?
Yeah. They have to know cards, but they have to be like super like animated and
Oh,
like
yeah.
really engaging.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I'd have to be very
Yeah.
extra about it.
Oh
all.
yeah.
Yeah. Like all the little YouTubers. I mean, like I see my kids watch this. Like, what are you watching this crap for? And then I end up sitting watching it with
Right.
them because you can't walk away from all the stupid sounds and I mean, it's just playing with all your your sensors. You
Yep.
know.
It's genius.
So I know you talk about marketing in the bio. Your bio says 60 million spent on influencers. So I know like 9 years ago when we first reconnected with Casey, that's when you first were working with the Kardashians. Like this is when they first started doing paid posts. No one was even doing that yet. And you had access to the Kardashians and started working with them. And that's how I really got to know about you and your marketing power. So can you tell us like how did that whole thing happen?
Yeah, so I was doing the Fashion Nova posts. I was doing the Fit Tea posts. I was doing the Sugar Bear hair posts.
Yeah.
Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo. Like I was doing different brands.
Yeah.
I did the Postmates deal with the Kardashians, the DraftKings deal, the Lyft deal. And so I was literally like driving over Fashion Nova dresses or dropping off Fit Tea on their doorstep or bringing over Sugar Bear hair because Chris liked it a lot. Like it was just like bringing over those products and I would pay them. I probably spent $18 million with those girls.
So you were doing this like ahead of the game before all the Instagram marketing promotion, even before the Kardashians had started doing it, you were working with them. So when they started putting ad on their photos, how did you make such a powerful collaboration happen?
Money.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to make money and the products were good. And I was picky about what I showed them. I got hit up by so many different brands that wanted me to pitch them and I never did.
Of course.
I stuck with the household name, the brands that you see on social media. That's what I brought them. Mm-hmm. And I only brought them deals that were relevant. I didn't try to like negotiate down too much from, I tried to buy packages, but not negotiate their price, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so they liked working with me in that regard. And I also was super professional. Like I'm not just there to hang out with them. I'm not there to party with them. I never asked them for anything. I literally just, hey, I'm going to wire you $1 million for X amount of posts. And can I have that sister, that daughter, and that girl post it? Cool, sign this and I'll bring the products over tonight.
Who's your favorite Kardashian? Marketing wise. I
mean, Kim is the legend.
Oh yeah.
She's the legend this whole game. She's the one that paved the way for Kylie, you know. Kim is just on a whole different world because she was the one that really was like what you just said about me, I would say about her.
Yeah, like she understood it right from the start.
She adjusted with the times over and over and over, year after year, and has just built this multi-billion-dollar brand.
Listen, wow. If I was Kim Kardashian and I had someone like Dan Fleyshman, obviously Kim K is Kim K, but if I had a smart businessman who's so successful with marketing and scaling business and all the stuff that he does, compare myself to him, wow, like to me, that would be the ultimate compliment because he is such a success in business and people want to say the Kardashians have no talent and they've done nothing, which is very untrue at this point.
Untrue.
But to me, that would be like the ultimate compliment. If I ever had Dan compare me to him, that would be like, wow.
So I co-founded a brand called Talentless with her brother, Scott Disick.
Yeah.
So we started that brand together. We did like 17 million on year 2. It was a good brand.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like a funny name, obviously, because that's what people talk about them like.
Yeah.
I would like to end the debate when it comes to someone like Kim and Kylie. People talk about how Kylie just became a billionaire so fast and she had all this. Let me explain something. There are a lot of famous kids in the world. Really famous. There are a lot of rich kids in the world. You can't name any of their products. And boy, have they tried to make products.
Yeah.
Left and right. They have beverages and clothing and snacks and this and that and tchotchkes and accessories. You can't name any of them. Kylie Jenner sold $1 billion. This should be really clear.
Yeah.
That girl was 19, 20, and 21 years old. Way more. I'm talking about, I couldn't even count the thousands of celebrities that have children that have tried to make products. You can't name any of them except for Kylie's. Let's just be clear. And so when people talk about like, oh, Kim got lucky or Kylie, lucky.
That's not luck. That's work.
A decade of being consistent, a decade of all these cameras following them, a decade of it. And even then, you have to now have execution, manufacturing, production, shipping, e-commerce, retail store. There are so many factors to execute to go out there and do it. You could take another celebrity that's a household name with a zillion followers. They have no chance of becoming a $10 or $50 million company, even scratching the surface compared to her $1 billion company.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work.
It definitely
Well
does.
said. I like to say, luck is the definition of when opportunity meets skill. Like you might be lucky and be at the right place at the right time, but if you don't have the skill and the capabilities to get it done and close it, it means nothing.
Yeah.
Think about how many celebrity kids are in rehab or dead or in jail. When she became a billionaire. So to me, there's no luck in that.
Respect.
Well, me and Kylie Jenner have the same birthday, so we will work together. So watch out.
Shit. All right. Next
watch out. It
billionaire
will
right here
happen.
on this podcast.
Watch out. Yeah, see, I don't get that with the being private thing. Like, even all the times that I've been paid to post and all the things that I've done over the years, you're never allowed to be private. If you are, you have to take it off. And I just don't really understand why people would want to be private. Like, I don't get that.
I'm private.
Well, that's different.
I just don't want anybody to know my salad recipes.
Oh, here we go again with the salads.
So one more thing, Dan, what does the future look like for you?
So the ranch is, I live there. So that's part of the passion project. I live there. That's my forever house.
Yeah.
But I added a lot of elements so that we could have events there and things there. We're building a 700 person, like a mega barn there.
Wow.
We already have like ATV course and animal sanctuary and military training courses, et cetera, so that there's stuff to do when people come over. So that's something that's going to be with me forever because I live there. I'm starting something called the Money Mondays, which is going to be like a weekly training course.
Ooh.
Where people can, I'm going to Zoom live every Monday at 4:00. The Money Mondays. So it's a podcast in the morning, and then at 4:00 will be like the training where people can actually ask questions in person. So I've turned down doing that for years, and I finally found a way that I can make it unique.
Yeah.
So I bought an RV, built a podcast set inside of the RV.
Oh
No
my
way.
God,
That's all.
cool.
Hey, we got to see that.
Oh, yeah.
I got to come see that.
Yeah. And so the Money Mondays is something I'm going to be doing for many, many years. And that's something big I'm going to focus on this year. That's what I was filming this morning before I came here.
Yeah.
The next book does come out this year, How to Set Up Your Events for Under $1,000.
Oh,
And then-
awesome.
And then mostly the same. Like I'm just scaling. The acai bowl chain is scaling like crazy. We're at 59 locations now. The card stores, I'm scaling. Going to go from 8 to 15 stores this year.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't want to scale is a social media agency. I like my clients. I like the size of it. I don't want to be Gary V with 900 employees.
Yeah.
I'm happy with my business. We spend around $60 million with influencers. That's a perfect size. No headaches, no investors, no partners. It's just me, my CEO, and a good team. But everything else outside of that, this is my scale year. Scale the cards, scale the acai bowls, scale the businesses, scale the masterminds. Like I'm going to go in full scale mode now.
Yeah, because you have everything. You got the wheels are running, and it's a well-oiled machine. You just want to keep it pushing to grow it and grow it and grow it. So I just wanted to thank you again so much for being here. I know you are so busy, and I'm very thankful. I'm sure that Chuck and Lior
Absolutely.
are thankful as well.
100%.
But I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm so glad that we did this today. Thank you, guys. I'm Amanda Lim with Rubbing Elbows. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Bye.